I'm ready.
So, podcast life. Chase Bauer
Chase Bauer. I'm in the house.
in the house. Brown shirt, jeans,
bumming
easy
it.
Friday. Bumming it. This is the best part about owning your own business. I guess you
Yeah.
still have a W-2, but for me, like I do whatever. I wear whatever. It is what it is.
This is my normal attire.
Yeah.
Whether if I'm going out to eat with the girlfriend, I might dress a little bit nicer, but
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. But
Yeah.
I'm picking up rent checks in this.
Yeah.
I'm changing furnace filters, doing flooring. I got
Yep.
my Amazon shoes on.
What brand is that?
I
No
don't know.
name. Doesn't matter. Amazon.
Like $30.
So let me give the people some background on Chase. And I've known you for a month now?
Something like that.
A month, 2 months. I met you because I had the portfolio listed.
Yeah.
You called me and you were interested in one of them. Oh, here we go. You said
No,
you might get a call from a tenant.
This is a buddy.
Oh, okay. There you go. We had the portfolio listed, and you called me interested in one of them.
Yeah.
And I said it's only 9 of them, and it wasn't the right, so that didn't work out. But from that, we met up, got lunch, whatever.
Yeah.
You own 32 doors. You're making. Give us a little breakdown on the real estate you've got.
Okay, so 32 doors. My portfolio is worth probably 3.6, I would say. Debt on that is probably 1.4, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Cash flow after mortgage, taxes, insurance is about $22,000 a month. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's a long journey, but it's been going good, and I've gotten extremely lucky with just the time of the market. Interest rates were low, and the position that I was in at the time, able to live in these houses and kind of like do sweat equity.
Yeah.
And and kind of just snowball my profits.
Yeah. Because you did a lot of the work yourself, right?
I did it at the beginning. I was I was so broke I couldn't
Yeah.
afford to pay contractors
Yeah.
what they were asking. And it's tough to find good contractors that are fair. But at the beginning, I was doing a lot of work myself: flooring, painting, windows.
Painting is the worst. I can't stand painting.
I can paint if I'm with somebody, or if I had a good podcast that I'm listening to. But these painters, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So if you can paint yourself, you're saving
You can
yourself
save a couple $1,000s easily.
easy.
Yeah. But where I was going with that, $22,000 a month. You have a W-2. You work for the VA.
Yeah, work for a government job with the VA, pull in a decent amount of money there. But I think you're going towards me being so frugal.
You're frugal. Drives a Honda Accord or Civic, which is, we were talking earlier, we met a month or two ago, and I've since then have bought a Civic, got to get the gas mileage, the tax savings. But it's impressive, honestly, and I told you this, I think the first time we met, I know a decent amount of people in real estate, and there's this weird stigma, especially around realtors, that you got to have like the Audi, you got to have the
You gotta have the Mercedes.
Mercedes, you got to have the Rolex. A lot of investors are you're just trying to flex on people, and it's like,
Oh man, you have no idea.
I mean, at some point in your career, whatever, maybe if you've got that much extra money, if that's what you really enjoy and that's your hobby, then whatever, get your car or whatever. But like, the better thing to do is doing what you're doing, live way below your means,
yeah,
cash flow, and then just keep buying properties and go from there. I mean, it's honestly impressive. We went to Denny's this morning. I mean,
Denny's?
that's fantastic food.
I think I got a grand slam. It was
that's
phenomenal.
Phenomenal food for a bargain.
A military discount.
Military discount. You got to get everything. Get all the stops. Pull them out.
If I were to buy a Mercedes, that's $1,000 a month at least. And then you got a maintenance. Clothes aren't cheap.
Milk.
Rolex. If I showed up with all those, my friends I think they'd just dog on me. They'd be like, look at this guy. Oh, watch out, driving a Mercedes now. I don't know.
I mean, that's good though. I mean, most people would be the opposite. Most people would be dogging on you if you're driving I mean, your Honda's nice. It's not like it's not like it's a beater Honda.
I
or
love
anything.
that car.
Yeah, I mean,
I treat that thing like a truck.
Yeah.
You know?
Throw some 2x in the back, take them to the properties.
fit some windows in there, just jam them in.
Yeah. So give us a little history. Where did you? I know you were in the Air Force. Chair Force.
Chair Force.
Force Reserves. Army. I was Army Reserves. But give us a little background of you didn't start with 32 properties.
Didn't start with 32 doors. So I've always been extremely frugal, and I've tried to invest in the stock market at a young age, and I got pretty lucky with Microsoft. Back when I think I started buying it when it was $30 a share, and now it's like $400 or something. So I would always dump as much money as I could into that stock, and a few others or whatnot. But I always found ways to just live below my means. I got a hold of some Dave Ramsey books when I was in my early 20s from a friend that I worked with, and was like, dude, you should read these. I read about 3 Dave Ramsey books, and I was hooked. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do whatever I can to, pay myself first and whatever. And I want to say I moved in with my parents maybe, and was saving like $800 a month, food, utilities, rent. And I took all that extra money that I was saving and the overtime that I was working, and I just dumped it into the stock market. So by the time that I got to, I think I was 30, I was looking for houses to buy, and my girlfriend at the time lived, on the east side, and she was living in a house that she bought for maybe 110, and her, mortgage was $600 a month. So I was helping her with that, living with her. And I was looking to buy a house, and we were going to rent hers out because I always wanted to get into real estate, but I just didn't know how to even get started.
Yeah.
So I bought a house for $63, I want to say. And, the mortgage was taxes, insurance. I think it was like $500. So, I'm living pretty cheap. We rent her house out for like $1,100 a month. So, she's pocketing like $400 or $500 and moving in with me. And after a few months, I'm like, man, this is really pretty easy. Nothing went wrong. We had good tenants, luckily. And we didn't have any major issues come up that would like steer us away from buying more. So I was probably 100,000 liquid at the time, maybe a little bit more, but I decided to get with my bank and buy another house that was going to be a rental. And I think my second house that I bought was for $57,500.
What year was this?
This would have been 2016.
Okay. It's not that long ago.
Not that long ago. And, that house now could probably sell for $140,000. So,
doubled.
Yeah. If not more. So at the time that I bought that, and I put 20% down, so that was like, $12,000, so not a big down payment.
Yeah.
And my payment on that was, again, probably $400 or $500 with taxes and insurance. And I was renting out for $900. And, a couple months went by and just nothing happened. Like I got so lucky that I was buying these houses that didn't need a lot of work to them. The roofs were new, HVAC stuff was good. The tenants that we screened were pretty solid with income, and they didn't give us any trouble or whatnot. But, here we go. We got her property, my property, bringing in cash, and we're like, man, we're onto something here. Because my cash on cash return, if I'm putting $12,000 into a property and I'm pocketing $400 a month, those returns are great. Making $5,000 a year off 12,000. So I bought another one, and then I bought another one, and then next thing you know, I had like my first year, I might have had 4 or 5, and I'm bringing in $2,500 a month, and I'm like, man, I think I'm crushing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, $2,500.
Yeah. Big time.
Something clicks, and like, man, what I'm doing is working. How can I buy more? So, I just would save as much money as I could, get with some banks and buy more. And then got to the point where, I want to say I did like a 401k loan. I took out like man, maybe $80,000 out of my 401k, 3 or 4 years down the road, and bought 2 properties. And I bought these 2 properties for like $120 and fixed them up. And within like 18 months, they turned into being worth like $200 a piece. Sold those, took the cash, 1031 into another deal, and then I bought a bunch of houses in Terre Haute. I want to say I was all in with those houses for 180 and sold those in November for around 345. So, it's just over time, the property value has gone up so much that I've just been able to buy and then sell, in a few years and really cash in.
Do you feel like 2016, 17, 18, I feel like that was kind of a sweet pocket to be in?
Man, I think it was. And I want to say that, the crash in 2008, anything from then to 2016, 17, 18, prices were just so low. Mm-hmm. And, those COVID years, really, everything just skyrocketed. Yep. Now it's so much harder to find deals. I remember putting in offers, and I wasn't competing with anybody.
Yeah.
I put in, I'm like, oh, this looks nice. I go look at it. Yeah, put them in offer. We'll pay them asking. And get it. And
it cash flowed.
And it cash flowed.
Yeah.
I was getting 1.5% rule on these properties, sometimes 2. And, and everything was just so affordable. Looking back, like if I was in the position that I am now in 2016, man, I would have bought
gobbled them up.
I would have bought so many more houses, and
and that's what they keep saying. I've heard people say that same thing about 2022 and 2023, where it's like people are saying that same thing where you're going to look back in 5 years and think, I should have bought as many as I possibly could right now.
Right.
Because, in every market's different. We're in Indianapolis. We both live in Westfield. Westfield's literally the number 6 growing city in America.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Number 1 in Indiana.
Number 1 in Indiana. I think number 1 in the Midwest region, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously Indianapolis is not Westfield, but it trickles. The bigger one economy grows in one area, it pushes, and Indianapolis by itself has got probably between 3 and 7% appreciation year after year, somewhere in there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People, we looked at some houses today and they're just overpriced. I guess overpriced is relative. Someone might pay for that, but they're going to sink money into it and they're going to have to hold it for however long. And if you're okay dumping cash like that, then it is what it is. But for the savvy investor, someone who's doing kind of what you're doing for this long, finding a 1%, 1.5%, unless if it's off market and you've got a distressed seller and you're direct to seller, it's hard. You can find them. It just takes some time.
Yeah, they're not on they're not
just
popping
scroll
up.
And, yeah.
It used to be all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, not so much. And for somebody out of state living in California or New York, Dallas, a lot of these out of state buyers that are investing in Indianapolis, they might see what we see and man, that's not bad at all.
Yep.
But for me and you and knowing what what the market has been, it's just the deals aren't nearly as good as they used to be. So
they look at a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and it's twice as much in California, if not 3 times as much for that same house.
Yeah.
Granted, rents are higher, but it's just there's this weird phenomenon with out-of-state investors where they look at Indianapolis and they think it's just this golden road to wealth. They're just like, oh yeah, you can buy a house for $60,000, rent it for $1,000, $1,200 and cash flow all day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find that, sometimes you can get that, but like you said, just drop it into the MLS or drop it onto Zillow. It's hard to find those. Yeah,
and I think what's good about Indiana is, as a whole, it's such a cheap state compared to the national average. But but everything is getting brought up to that. It's going closer to that national average, to the point where it's like, where am I going to look next? I've kind of looked into Anderson a little bit. I had those properties in Terre Haute that I really hit a home run on, but. It's when you're investing out of your city, an hour away or whatnot,
everything changes.
Add some variables as far as management. So,
Anderson, for those who know where Anderson's at, it's, northeast of Indianapolis. Not exactly known to be the nicest town in the world, but you can definitely get properties for cheap. I saw one today for $15,000, which, it needs work, or that might've been Muncie. Either way, they're both about the same, as far as towns go. But, you can find them for cheap, if you hold on to them long enough, and that, like you said, with the property you bought for 60 and it went to 140 or 120. I feel like there's also a stigma where, I've even had this coming from the north side of, I'd rather invest here and get a rental property in A-class area But sometimes those C, D class areas, if they're that cheap with the growth that we're having, you may not see like a 3% appreciation on a house like you do up here. You might see like 100% increase in the price over 5 years just from the population growth and the amount of investors coming in. It's crazy.
That's kind of how I got lucky with a lot of my properties. Is just the population growth and really just the overall areas kind of brought up the property value of all the houses. So
is your plan to pay off all the debt, or I know you did some refis, kind of using it where it makes sense, and then
it all depends, man. I go back and forth. It just 1 month I'm like, oh, I'm over it. I need to hire Josh to manage all my properties.
I'm waiting for that call, man. I'm waiting for the call.
I need to sell off. It's just tough because the capital gains tax would crush me.
Yeah.
Anything over $500,000, I think it jumps from 15% to 20%. 5% can really move the needle when you're dealing with over $1 million worth of a couple $1 million worth of real estate. I've thought about selling off and paying off some debt, but my main thing is how can I stretch my dollar to get the highest return out of that money. Mm-hmm. And with what I'm doing is the maximum, rate of return that I'm going to see. I find a house like we just put an offer on that 2-bed, I lowball cash offer, hopefully we can meet in the middle from my offer and their asking. Mm-hmm. And then, I might fix it up a little bit, do some sweat equity, try to up the rents. I'll take it back to the bank and say, hey, I want to pull out 80% of the value, try to get as much of my original investment back as I can, and then put a 30-year loan on it. Mm-hmm. And I've done that the last, this year so far, I've done that. I'm working on my third one, and my last two, I've gotten all but like $6,000 to $8,000 of my original investment back, which makes my returns like above 40. Mm-hmm. It's like anytime you can do that and get close to your original investment back, it's a home run deal in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cash flowing even $100 a month and you're making $1,200 a year, it's going to take you 7 years to pay that original back, and then you're in infinite return mode. Yeah. And by then, it's probably appreciated enough where you could just accelerate it and refinance again.
Rents are going to keep going up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not even going to take that long.
So,
and that is the crazy thing, too, is, that's the beauty of real estate investing is you get a 30-year fixed, but your rent is not fixed. Rent's going to keep going up. We just talked about the appreciation. And Indianapolis is going to keep growing. It's only going to get easier. Your 22 a month is going to turn into 30, 40 a month. I mean, if you just keep doing what you're doing, it's going to be there easily.
I have a house that I think it's my third house that I bought. When I got it, it was rent for $725. It was a 2-bed. That house is renting now for $1,250. So I mean, what is that, like a 60-70% growth of in 6-7 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think in 10 years we're going to see some crazy rent numbers, crazy rent numbers.
Man, if
people in Carmel are going to be paying $7,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
I mean, it's wild.
It's going to be insane. If inflation goes the way it's going now and rent increases go the way they're going, I mean, either that or something breaks. We're going to have some kind of breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to what the Fed does. And if the Fed lowers rates to anywhere near what it used to be, like if mortgage rates get down to 4.5%, 5%, man, that is just going to skyrocket all the housing value.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a massive frenzy to buy. I mean, everybody I work with right now, I mean, not everybody, 80% of the people I work with right now are either saying I'm going to buy now and refinance, which is what I would say you should do, or they're saying I'm going to wait for rates to drop. I don't know if rates are ever going to drop, but if they do drop, they'll probably drop at some point, maybe 10 years from now. And when they do drop, the supply is going to hit the bottom of the barrel. Or the demand is just going to be so high it's going to be COVID like 2021 all over again.
Who knows, man? It's
really
hard to
tell. You're going to go up $50,000 over asking and no inspection. But
I
don't know. We'll see. I mean, right now, that's why people are saying right now is the time to buy. If you can make the deal work now, when that time comes where it's crazy, when you're in the driver's seat,
From an investor standpoint, if the rates lower, it's going to make the property value of a rental property go up. So, as an investor, you kind of want high interest rates because then people like, me and you can come in with cash and, get it for a little bit better of a deal. So it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So do like I know that's kind of random, top of mind, but do you have like a deal, one specific that was like your favorite deal?
Oh, yeah.
Or anything like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, give us that story.
Okay, so when I bought my first house, the house next door was owned by an old man. He was like probably 80. His name's Cortland. Real nice guy. And I would always talk to him every now and then, and and we stayed in touch, and he'd ask me for favors on working on his house and whatnot. And so one day I pulled his property card, typed in his name to the records, and he had all these houses, and one of them was boarded up and looked like complete trash. And, I said, hey, I was like, Cortland, what are you going to do with this house, man? It's just sitting here boarded up. You're not making any money. You're losing money on it.
Yep.
And he said, well, I'm thinking about selling it. I'm like, well, I'll buy it, So we go check it out, and we unscrew. What did he? I don't think it was boarded up on the doors, but we get inside it, and it has squatters in there. And I'm like, oh crap! There's people living in here.
Yep.
And so we're like, hey, you guys got to go. He calls the cops. Get him out of there and whatnot. And I'm like, there's a hole in the roof. Like I can see the sky.
Yeah.
And
it's beautiful. It's a skylight.
Yeah.
Right? Put some glass over that thing.
Yeah, some plexiglass in there. But I'm like, Cortland, what do you want for this, man?
Yeah.
And I think he said like $10,000 at the time. And I'm like, man, I don't know.
It's crazy to think that $10,000 is like, that's a long shot.
Well, it needed so much, man. It needed everything.
Yeah.
So I got him down, and I wasn't, at the time, I didn't even want it.
After seeing it, you're like, it's not really what
a couple months went by, and it the grass was so tall and the weeds were so high, like you couldn't even see the house. And I was like, I'll give you $5,000. You can either take it or you're going to lose it because you haven't even been paying your taxes on it. He was like, fine,
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a deal. The question is how much was just the land? If there's no house on there, I mean, how much was that land worth?
Now?
I mean, what year was that? Was 2016?
I bought that in 2000. No, I bought that in 2021.
Oh, wow.
So this was recent.
21. What size? Like a quarter acre? Less than a quarter acre?
Well, it's a duplex. So, it's probably not even a quarter acre.
So maybe you're talking about like
I would
20 grand maybe.
Yeah, the lot would 20 grand sounds.
Yeah, somewhere in that
25. Vein. But so I buy this house from him, and I had to put in like 40 grand worth of work. Windows, roof, heating, flooring, paint, update the water lines, all that stuff. So I'm all in it for, let's say, 50 grand to make it the numbers easy. It's renting out right now for 800 aside, and I still own it. I could probably sell it for 140. So that house right there is probably deal. I don't know if it's my biggest home run, but it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
So.
And you own that one outright. You never went back.
Yeah, paid cash. And don't owe any debt on it. So it's a pretty good
that's
one.
like every investor's dream.
Yeah,
you call the guy and you're like, come on, man, like what are you doing with this thing? And the guy's like, I feel like today, real estate today is just different. And I think social media and Zillow, Realtor.com, all these things changed it for, I don't know, maybe the better, maybe the worse. But you can access, you can look at properties in San Diego and then New York and then Canada and then Indiana. Like you can go anywhere, you can buy anywhere. It really stretched the fabric of where you can invest. Yeah. And, people always used to say real estate is local, and like I think it still is. There's still something to be said about like meeting people in your area and doing business, and it opens doors. But like I just feel like the seller today, 2024, I almost said 23, man. they would be like, "Oh, you're gonna give me $5,000? Let me stick it on Zillow and see what I'll get for it," and they'll get $50,000 for it. I mean, it's just like
an out-of-state investor would have jumped all over that.
Yeah,
and they probably would have knocked the whole thing down.
Yeah,
paid 15 or whatever and bulldozed it.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like finding the deals like that where it's just easy. You got time to look, you got time to think about it.
Yeah.
Give you the offer, and it just doesn't. I don't see it. It doesn't work like, at least for me. At least for me, it doesn't work like that right now.
Well, people know how hot real estate is.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting on anything, that it's worth something.
Yeah.
I mean, like that house we went and looked at for 85 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trash.
I wouldn't pay 55 for that.
Yeah.
But sooner or later, somebody's probably going to buy that for 70.
Yeah.
And that guy probably got it for, if we pulled up the property records, he probably got it for 25.
Yeah, probably pretty minimal.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a different beast right now. We're trying to get properties. I'm trying to follow the Chase program, get some properties here and there, burn them out.
Low income. Yeah.
So that was the biggest, call it, success. Do you have any opposite side, any downfalls, or has it been pretty at least base hits? Knock on wood.
On wood. I have never bought a property that I look back at and think, man, that was a stupid buy. Mm-hmm. But all of my properties are cheap, small. Yeah. Like I haven't bought anything that's humongous. Mm-hmm. I sent you that 5-plex, mm-hmm. and that could have, if I purchased that, which I probably won't because I won't get it for the right price. But if I pay $450 what that guy's asking, there's a good chance I could be all into that for $550, and it appraised for $525.
There is something to be said about slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady, dude. That's all I've done.
Getting lower price houses. You don't need to be fancy and sexy and get all
no.
I mean, even that. Yeah, I don't know. It's everyone's strategy is different, but from what I've seen the past couple of years is a lot of the investors who are in it for 5, 10, 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
They just keep going. They're not trying to do anything flashy. People come up and go quickly that are, we made millions of dollars last year, and then they're down, then they're up, and then they're down. Yeah. And it's just the guys who, every year I buy one, every year I buy two. And then as you have access to more capital and you've gotten better at analyzing the deals and mm-hmm. Your local area, and you're like, you can look at, you at this point, you can look at a property and be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
We can walk through a property and I'll,
5 minutes in, you're like, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, we'll scroll on Zillow and I can tell you if it's a deal
no-go.
or not.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where you really kind of get the sweet spot, find your stride of like, your buy box, your prices, your financials, and you're like, it's not worth it if I'm not going to cash flow this.
I've stuck to what I'm good at and what I know. I could go in there and try to do apartment complexes, mm-hmm. but I don't know the numbers behind all that. And if I were to try to go that route, there's a chance that I could, mess up and mm-hmm. overpay and, be upside down. And, mm-hmm. It's just, but on the upside of that is if you try to do something like that, you can really hit a home run with the,
it's high risk, high reward.
High risk, high reward.
Yep.
I'm a little bit too, conservative.
Low risk.
Yeah, low risk.
But it's not even low reward. I mean, you're making $22,000 a month. That's nothing small.
Yeah. But, like what I'm doing, people kind of like, it's not flashy.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at my portfolio. Now, when you see it on paper, you're like, oh, wow, this is great. But when you're driving by these houses, you're like, man, I tell people that I'm like low income landlord, and they're like, oh, gosh. You're like, oh, okay.
Slumlord over here.
Slumlord, yeah.
I mean, you're in eviction court twice next week.
I got court on Monday.
Yeah,
and then I got a file on a guy that same day. So one of my biggest mistakes as a landlord is I try to help people out too much. Yeah. You have these people that come up to you and was like, hey, my friend who rents from you told me about you, said you're a great landlord. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything? I'm kind of in a rough spot. And,
we get that all the time.
And I'm like, well, where do you work? I see your pay stubs. If your pay stubs look good, I'll give you a chance. But sometimes you get burned.
Yeah. And that's the name of the game too. And that's why it's important to know your numbers and not be extremely over leveraged. Because if you've got, 2 evictions and you're too over leveraged, if 2 evictions is going to sink you, that's not a good place to be.
Right. I mean like at this point, I don't want to say that I'm unsinkable, But
It would take a lot.
It would take a lot. I have probably 10 houses that are completely paid off at over $1 million in equity in just those properties.
I mean, the beautiful part is something happens and you need liquid, you just sell one of them.
Sell one or pull out the cash, I mean, I still work my full-time job, which is a good chunk of change that, helps me, pay my bills and whatnot. If I were to quit that job, I wouldn't be.
There's frugal Chase coming out.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh,
getting
man.
tight.
I'd be a lot tighter.
Yeah,
I'd be cutting my own grasses on these rentals instead of hiring it out.
I mean, it's commendable though. I mean, most investors, they get one property, they're like, man, I'm living the dream. I can buy my dream car. Yeah. So you really haven't had any downfalls. You've had the big upside.
I mean, I've had tenants that have been complete disasters. I bought a house that my tenants I think sent me some money, but I don't know this. I think the app's
Chase said before we got on here live, he said he's waiting for someone to call, and I told him to answer the tenant call. Answer it live, and we'd show people what it's like to be a
I mean, like I manage my own properties, so like my phone
it's
every
constant.
day is getting a text from a tenant. But I've bought properties that had tenants in place, and sometimes that's not a good thing. I bought a duplex. I bought 2 duplexes that were side by side, on the same lot that were surrounded by my other houses. And the previous owner, I think he might have been a slumlord. He was just didn't care about nothing. And he let stuff, as long as his rents were extremely low. I think they were like $450 a month for a 1 bed. So he didn't the tenants knew that they were getting a good deal. That we just can't text them about anything breaking. So I buy these properties, and there's this one woman in there, and she's nuts, man. She's crazy. I think she was selling drugs, and within like 3 months of me owning this house, of these duplexes, the house got shot up, and this woman that was like running out to the alleys every night doing whatever. I don't know. I have no proof of what she was doing.
Yeah.
But the house got shot up like by 3 bullets, and one grazed her head and put her in the hospital.
Man.
Yeah. So I'm like, and I don't have proof that she was like doing anything that she wasn't doing. I wasn't there. I don't know if she was selling drugs or not. So I had to ride this woman out until her lease was up. And every week, man, she was just doing something crazy. She was one of my worst tenants that I've ever had. Gosh.
But hey, that's the what is the phrase? All things pass in time, or something like that. But she's gone.
She's gone. She's somebody else's problem.
She's somebody else's
nuts,
problem,
man.
Yeah.
You gotta, as a landlord, you're gonna have all this stuff happen. You're gonna have crazy things happen, and you just have to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you'll cry.
Yeah. In the moment, it's usually hard. It's stressful. It's there's stuff going on. You may not know the exact answer, but it's a learning experience, and it's most of the time a funny story to look back on.
Yeah.
Maybe not funny to you, but someone else
will
get a chuckle out of it.
Funny then.
Someone else will get a chuckle out of it. Yeah, we've been pretty lucky with tenants. We had one that caused some issues, and up here in Westfield, actually.
A house in Westfield?
Yeah, one of the rentals I owned. The renter the neighbors were calling the cops all the time to come for just noise and yelling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, overall, our tenant experience has been pretty decent. There's people who don't pay, and you work with them, you figure it out.
You try to work with them. They don't.
Yeah, that's the thing that people feel like don't understand either. It's like there's some people who, day 3 you haven't paid, eviction notice is on your door, and it's like, well, that's not necessarily the most great thing for the owner either. I don't really want to be evicting you every month.
No, because that's just money you're spending. Yeah. It costs $105 to go to the courthouse and file. I do not. I would rather pay a tenant.
Yeah.
Like I just, I have this tenant that I'm getting rid of, and I would rather, and he completely ghosted me, quit answering my phone calls and text messages. We have core like the first of next month, and if he I would pay him money just to vacate. I don't know if he's going to do that or not, but I would gladly pay him $200-$300 to just leave and take his stuff. Don't leave all your
because then now you're in for another $600 in dump fees.
Yeah,
to get rid of all
dump
this
fees,
stuff.
clean out.
Yeah.
I would much rather pay you to vacate than have to go to court and then have to, wait a week for you to vacate after you lose the eviction or whatever, and then you leave a bunch of trash.
Yep. Yeah, cash for keys is powerful.
I know.
And the crazy part is not everybody takes it. It's like an eviction's going to be on your record for, 6 years, right? Or something like that. And, I don't know if we've ever accepted an evicted tenant, and people, cash for keys is not an eviction. That's just saying, you're not doing what you said you're going to do. You both mutually agreed you were going to pay rent. You don't own the property. It's okay. Here's $300 to move on. It's either that or you go to court and you get evicted and it's on your record,
And I try to explain that to tenants, like, listen, take the money and go.
This is your best option.
Yeah.
I'm done with the non-payment. And it's not like you're doing anything wrong or hurtful. I mean, you agreed to pay rent. That people understand what rent is.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So what's Chase do? I keep saying Chase like I'm talking to like a third party, but what do you do outside of real estate? You got the work with the VA job.
The work with the VA. I just built a house that I kind of been working on a lot. I need to refinish a basement in there.
Did you build it unfinished?
Built unfinished basement.
You're just gonna frame it up, do it yourself?
Frame it up. Got a buddy who's gonna help me, and we're gonna knock it out. But in my spare time, I like to just hang out with my friends, go to the gym, go out to eat with with the girlfriend, and just kind of goof off, bro it out, relax.
Yeah.
I went to Terre Haute, just got a new casino.
Oh, really?
Yeah, are you a casino guy?
Never been.
Oh,
never been
gosh.
in my life.
Oh, it's pretty nice. I'm gonna have to end up going there.
So, of all the things that you're frugal on, you're just gonna go to the casino. And what's your
Texas Hold'em?
Texas Hold'em. Okay.
I usually win money.
Okay.
I usually win at least $50. It depends how long I play, but it's just one of the few things that I'll kind of like splurge on.
Yeah.
So
Terre Haute. Man, that's where it's happening.
It's blowing up, man. I should have held on to those 6 houses I had there.
Yeah. I've never even looked into Terre Haute as a place to invest.
Yeah. I will say that a lot of these smaller markets can have really good rent numbers, but you will not see any sort of appreciation really.
Yeah. If you hold on to it long enough and you cash flow for enough, it just depends on what your strategy is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, it depends, and I don't necessarily bank on appreciation. That's kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah.
For me, my rentals fight taxes, which is nice for a business owner. But if you're cash flowing at all, even if it's not year 1 through 3, years 3 through 10, I almost guarantee you'll cash flow something.
Yeah.
If you do it right, and then you sell it later, even if you make 20 off of it, you didn't lose.
Yeah. Real estate is very forgiving. If you have a bad year, you're just writing it off, and you're just, hopefully next year you do a lot better. But even with bad buys, time is your friend.
You hold on to it long enough.
Yeah.
Do you qualify for real estate professional with managing your own? Do you spend enough? You probably spend enough time.
How many hours? Is it 1,000?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have to worry about it, so I don't remember it off the top of my head.
I've looked into that.
I didn't think it was that much.
It might be 750. I don't really.
Something in the hundreds.
I don't know. I'd have to look into that with my CPA, but
yeah.
I would say that I might spend 2 hours a week. So nothing crazy. It just it depends if I want to do it or not. If I don't work Fridays, so today I went and made some rounds and did some stuff. Tomorrow I could, throw away some. I just had a bunch of windows replaced. I could, take those to the dump and get rid of them, but I'll probably hire that out. It just, just depends what I got going on that day. So.
We got to get you into golf so you can take me out to the Chattanam course.
I need to buy some clubs first.
Yeah.
How much do clubs run?
Well, if you're going to get some nice clubs, they're like...
I'm cheap, bro.
I was about to say, they're like... If you go get fitted, they're going to be like $2,000, $2,500. But you could go to get a starter set for $700 probably.
That's doable.
Yeah.
That's doable.
I mean, you're not going to get anything crazy, but if you're starting out, you don't need fitted clubs. You can go to Costco and get a set of clubs for probably $500.
I have a membership.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Do you get access to Chattanam? I can't remember what you said.
I think I get the front, like there's like I don't know a lot about the golf course, but I guess there's like 2 separate golf courses maybe. The one one that I have access to and then one that I don't. But we got the driving range, got the the putting course or whatever it is.
Something like that with a putter.
Yeah, and just go out there and I'm just terrible, man. I suck.
Do you play any sports at all? Did you play sports growing up at all?
I played football and basketball. I was pretty good at football, all-state linebacker in high school. Basketball, I'm 5'11" on a good day.
Yeah.
So,
just about being athletic and hitting somebody.
Trying to play defense.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pretty in shape.
I try to work out a lot, lift heavy weights, but
pick things up, put them down.
Pick things up, put them down, grind a little bit.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, it's gotten a lot harder, man, with joints.
Yeah, people may not understand on the video, but you're 38 going on 40.
38 going on. I just turned 38 in February, so been in real estate it'll be 8 years in November. So how many years have you been in real estate?
January of 21 is when we started. So
Okay.
about three and some change.
Okay.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, Josh is killing it for his age.
Yeah, I
in
appreciate
comparison to like where I was at 27.
Trying to.
Dude.
Slow and steady.
Dude, you're crushing it, man. You're crushing it.
Yeah, one day we'll get your property management company, your units. We'll kick those in.
It's going to be a lot sooner than you probably think. I'm tell you that right now.
2 more evictions and you're going to be out of there.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get you some more properties, and then there's probably a golden number in there where you're just kind of ready to pass the baton.
I would love to have my rental income at an it's not even, but at $25,000 net per month. So it's probably 6 more doors, maybe 6 more properties. So, and then kind of go from there. Yeah. I told myself when I was like, man, when I get to 10 properties, I'm quitting my job, or 15 properties. And then it was 20. And then, now I'm at 32 doors and I'm still working that job. Yeah. So.
And don't you get a pension with that?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
Did you already hit that, or you still?
I need to do like 25. And
what are you at?
So I'm like at 12 right now.
Oh, you got a ways then.
Yeah, so
there's no chance.
Right. I mean, I might make it to that.
That's
to
a
that point.
Long time. That's 13 years.
Yeah, but when you're working from home, man, and you're working 410s.
Yeah.
I got a lot of annual leave that I acquire, and sick leave, and I mean, dude, my job is pretty sweet. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming on and
man,
sharing the stories of
glad to be here.
Real estate, all things real estate. A little bit of golf in there, but nothing to be proud of.
I'll get some clubs and we'll
go out. We'll go play Chattanam.
We'll go to the driving range. And you can tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like there's some beginner's luck with golf where you hit the ball well and then like 5 rounds in, it just goes all downhill. So if you play like 5 rounds, you'll be fine.
Man, I haven't hit the beginner's luck yet. I'm pretty awful.
Well, then maybe not. Maybe that's out the window. Who knows? Do you have? I know you mentioned you have a YouTube channel. I think you've got Instagram too. You post a little bit on there.
Man, I couldn't even tell you what my Instagram or my YouTube is.
I don't have my phone. Look it up. Shout it out. We'll post it in the description. But
what is my Instagram?
For everyone who doesn't know, we are posting everything on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube. I don't know the name of the YouTube channel. I should probably know that. It's like Josh Keene Real Estate or something. I don't know. But we put it in the description and on Spotify and all that. So we're trying to get this. We're trying to grow the pot.
My Instagram handle is chase.aaron32.
There we go. Yeah, we'll put it down there.
My YouTube is, where are we at here? Landlord Living 4693.
There you go. Landlord Living.
And I just started posting videos of, and it's just a bunch of shorts, I think. But I mean,
you got to do it.
Got to do it.
Today's day and age, social media is where it's at.
I look at it like this: the more people that are investing in real estate and investing in rental properties and buying houses and fixing them up, dude, that
only makes your stuff better.
Yeah, that only makes my property value go up. So
rising tides float all boats.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've never really done any marketing before. Like, I did a little bit of cold calling for a while, and this year we just started doing some marketing for the Hoosier Home for the property management, and a little bit for realtor stuff. But social media is powerful. You grow that, and people just want to. I had this weird thing happen where, I don't know if you know who Bryson DeChambeau is.
I don't think so.
He's a professional golfer. He played on the PGA Tour, and then he went to Live Golf whenever that started.
Oh, nice.
But he started a YouTube channel, and I like to watch YouTube golf. I'll have it on in the background while we're working and stuff.
I watch more YouTube than TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is you get to know people even though you don't know them at all. Like, this guy's a professional golfer, and he's just talking to a camera, and whatever. Even if you don't, if you don't like YouTube golf, whatever your thing is, you get to know those people. And then I went to a tournament in Chicago with some friends, and he was playing, and I was like, I wanted to talk to him. Like, I felt like I knew him. I was like, Bryson, what's up, bro? Like, I know we connect.
Dude, I watch all your videos.
If you knew who I was, we would be friends.
Yeah.
That's the type of connection I felt like I had. And he didn't know who I was from Adam, but like, it's a weird complex. And so when you think about that for me as a realtor or real estate or whatever, people watch your stuff. They watch Instagram. They watch the YouTube channel, and they get to know how you talk. He knows the vocabulary. He can explain this. I like the way he whatever. At least I think people like the way I explain stuff. I don't know. They could be thinking it's horribly off, but it's crazy that you can have this weird connection with someone through your phone.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes.
The thing about YouTube, man, is you can literally find anything you want to learn how to do is on YouTube.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how I learned how to do a lot of the stuff that I was doing, refinishing hardwoods. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. You watch a couple hours of YouTube videos and you're like, you know what? Yeah. I can rent this tool from Home Depot. And that's pretty much how I got started doing that. And then there's so much plumbing and electrical videos, the basic stuff. I mean, it's the amount of information that's out there is endless.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, with the amount of information you have in your pocket, to not learn it it's lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn anything you wanted to know how to do, whether you're passionate about it or you're good at it or whatever. You could learn it.
Yeah.
You could figure, or at least, like, I don't want to do it, but at least I know the concept, real estate concepts.
Sure.
There's so much free information out there.
Free information.
Whoever's paying for gurus nowadays are dumb.
No.
Because there's YouTube TV or YouTube Studio University, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's so much information out there. We talk a lot about real estate on this podcast, and I don't always do a good job of explaining the terms, but there's plenty of podcasts out there that, Bigger Pockets is great, but it's notorious for, I got kind of tired of listening to it after a year or two, because it's like the same terms over and over. But like, you listen to that for a year, that's what I did, and you're dangerous enough to go buy something and figure it out.
It'll give you the confidence you need to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was. I wanted to get into real estate for so long, but I just didn't have the confidence to buy my first house and give it a shot until I was doing all sorts of research and listening to podcasts online.
Yep.
YouTube and whatever.
Yep. So all that said, go out there and get some YouTube University.
Yeah.
Buy your first property in Indiana where we can manage it.
And I will say, if you're wanting to get into real estate and your real estate agent that you have doesn't have rentals.
We just talked about this.
Do not go with somebody else. Yeah. Josh is in the game.
Yep.
He's a realtor. Yep. He's an investor, and he is a property manager. What more do you want?
What else do you need, baby? One-stop shop.
There you go.
It is true, though. We were talking about that, and if you're using an agent who's
not in it.
If they're saying this is a great investment
property
and rental property, you should ask that. How do you know? Because you have no clue.
Well, I got a buddy who has rentals.
I read, how to buy property low, no money down by Brandon Turner, and that told me that this is a good property. But
yeah,
I mean, you could have head knowledge, but until like the real numbers of real estate investing are very different than HGTV,
yes.
Flip or flop or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all that grandiose stuff. And that's why I say slow and steady. Like we do flips too. And, those are great and all. And I'd say that's part of the flashy real estate world. And unless if you're clearing certain numbers, they're not exactly worth it. I mean, for me as a realtor in Hamilton County, a 3% commission on the average price home is like $7,000, $6,000. You do a flip and you don't make more than $10,000 and you spend 6 months on it. Like even $10,000 is low. And it sounds crazy to say stuff like that, but you have to evaluate your time, the amount of work, the risk you took on from borrowing money, all that stuff is like, man, I should have just spent my time making more cash and buying a cheap house to rent.
Buying a C- rental, a C- area rental property, 2-bed, 1-bath.
Yep.
Kind of in a not so great area.
And then
that's all I do.
and then slumlord it up.
Yeah, just cash some
paint
checks.
over the outlet covers and no, we're not doing that. But
I might have done it before in my.
Might have done it before.
Yeah.
Hey, those things are 98 cents.
I know.
Or whatever, 65 cents.
Yeah, I think they're like.
They're pretty cheap.
46 cents at Walmart or something.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, appreciate it. Come on, we'll tag your stuff below. We'll post this out and people get to know Chase Bauer and
we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again in 6 months after we close some deals.
Yep. We'll see where you're sitting at.
Yeah.
It's been cool getting to know you.
Yeah, bro.
It's been fun.
I love people who love real estate.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are investors and flippers and landlords and we love it.
Yep. Yep. It's a fun game to be in.
It's a great game to be in.
Keeps you on your toes.
It's a long-term game, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I think I would get bored. I have gotten bored. I had so many jobs before I started this, and real estate's it changes enough. It keeps you on your toes enough. I don't get bored of it. Every day is another problem, basically. If you like to,
every day is another problem. Man.
You like to critically think and solve problems, then real estate's the game for you because. There's probably, honestly, in the last 3 years, I don't know if there's been a day without a problem. I'm sure that's not true. That's obviously obnoxious, but it's, and then, a problem was not like tenant burned down the house eviction.
Yeah.
It's not always that, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
What I love the most about real estate, other than the fact of the returns, is you help so many people when you're invested in real estate.
Oh, yeah.
You got agents who are getting commission.
Yep.
You got bankers who are closing,
making up money.
You got closing guys, doing your loan. You got contractors that are getting paid. You got tenants who need a place to stay and who are grateful for having the opportunity to move into your house or whatever. You got neighbors who love you because you just bought this piece of junk and fixed it up and raised the property value of the street.
And that is the thing too. Everyone gets upset at people who don't, Donald Trump pays no taxes, whatever. All these people who are like the big time and their stuff is like public. They get upset like, you're not paying taxes, you're not doing all this. And it's like, well, how many jobs did he create did they create? What people don't understand is real estate is written into the tax code because of those reasons.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything out there that creates 5, 6, 7 jobs, there's probably a tax break for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's boosting the economy.
The federal government wants you to be a real estate investor.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't hurt anything. Unless if you buy the whole state of Indiana and you burn it to the ground, it's beneficial.
There's a ton of people that benefit when you buy a house and fix it up.
Yep.
It's just...
Yep. So take advantage of it.
So take advantage of it, man. Depreciate.
You don't get tax write-offs for stock market. I don't think. I don't know barely much.
I was investing in the stock market. I couldn't tell if I was helping anybody out or not. I was buying Microsoft, so that was helping out. Was that Bill Gates? Or is he Apple?
No, Steve Jobs. Apple.
Steve Jobs. Yeah. Or whoever I was. I was benefiting him, but
And that's the thing too, is stock market, you're not usually going after the low, small businesses.
No.
Real estate, that is actually, I've never thought about that. Real estate, 90% of the time, I'm going after people with the small businesses because they're cheaper than the people with the big businesses, like the plumbers who are like, hey, it's like you were saying earlier, your roofer, he's the guy on the roof doing the roof job. It's
I love giving my guys work because they're fair, they do a great job, and they're just good they're
and
good
they want to
dudes,
work.
and they want to work.
Yeah.
You know, nothing better than that.
Yep. That's what it is.
That's
Buy
what it
real
is,
estate, make jobs, improve
help
people's
people
lives,
out.
help people out.
Get rich.
It's a win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win.
There's no downside.
It just takes time.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll sign off there. Appreciate it. That's that.
Until next time, brother.
Until next time. Peace out.
Yep. That was fun.